From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Do a little shopping at the SOR Vault. Grab a great book from We Read the Night. Join the Space Travelers for $5 a month. And Captain Shirk has you updated on the SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by donating to Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Now, originally, we had a good friend of this show, United Methodist Church Reverend Keith Bradley, coming on to talk about Christmas miracles. Well, 'tis the season after all. However, I got a scary message this morning when I woke up from Keith's wife that he was just released from hospital in the middle of the night with food poisoning. So, he can't make it. But we wish the Reverend Keith well, because he is a good fan of this show. He's a listener of this show. And we absolutely love him around here. Merry Christmas, Keith. Hope you get better. Filling in tonight is another one of our good friends, Mr. Olav Phillips, the man, the myth, and the paranoia legend. Olav is the editor of Paranoia Magazine and is one of the most knowledgeable people when it comes to the secret space program and secret societies and everything in between. So we're looking forward to this one tonight. We're looking into it because of the popularity right now of Hellyer 2. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Mr. Olav Phillips, good friend, Merry Christmas to you and your family. How are you?
Merry Christmas, greetings, and salutations.
Oh, I've missed that. I have missed that. Hope you're doing well, my friend, and hope you have a
I'm doing all right.
Great holiday season.
You too.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
Excellent. Excellent. Olav, and I want to say thank you for coming in on short notice as well, because, you know, you're one of the guys that we count on year in, year out, and, you know, you have an open phone policy that, and you've said many a times, Dave, if you're ever stuck, give me a phone call, and that's what I did, and I appreciate you picking on up. I realize you're busy with Christmas and putting up the tree decorations and wrapping gifts, as we only got about 36 hours until Santa Claus flies. But and I gotta tell you, okay, whether you love it or not, I don't care how old you are. Olav, I'm sure you do this in your house. Okay, I realize a lot of people don't trust the military, don't trust the government, but I think NORADSanta.org really brings the kids out in all of us, knowing that you can watch the countdown on their website to when Santa Claus is going to be leaving the North Pole and starting his trek around the world. I absolutely love that. I am actually geeked out for that, man.
So funny you mentioned that. My family has been in the Air Force for a long time. My grandpa was in the Army Air Corps, and then later in the Air Force. And my dad was in the Air Force. And when we lived overseas, especially when we lived overseas, but it started then, I listened to the NORAD Santa thing every year. In fact, when my dad was a kid and my grandpa was in the Air Force, he used to listen to it on Armed Forces radio. And back when I was a kid, you know, I remember vividly that they would actually, it's a little more high tech now. It was a little more simple then, but they would actually scramble fighters and actually have the pilots talking when they were up in the air. So it was pretty cool. I mean, now, you know, they have the vignettes of the people from NORAD or whatever, but back then, because they couldn't really do stuff like that, they had they actually had fighter planes that they would have flying around up there and communicating back, and you could hear the jet engines, and it was super cool. But yeah, I listen to it every year.
I just think that it is so remarkable for the season, and
it
you
is.
know,
it is.
and to be able to track Santa Claus right through his entire journey. I just look, I'm old enough. I'm 46 to know the truth here and to know the story. But I can tell you, man, when it hits midnight on the Pacific Coast here, and I'm watching NORAD Santa tracker, and it gets close to my area, I don't know why, maybe it's the kid in me, I literally run outside every year if it's not snowing and it's not cloudy, and I go looking up at the sky, thinking, wonder if I'm going to see him. And then I have to reel myself back in and think, Dave, we may want to have a talk here with ourselves. But that's just the way it goes. Just the way it goes.
Well,
I love it.
It's one of those things, I'm interested in, obviously, in military stuff, and I have been my whole life. But, we've been fighting for 15,000 years, and we've become quite effective at blowing stuff up. And in the military, whatever country you're in, the military, it's a good and it's a bad thing. It's good because it protects your country, and they go and try to stop conflicts in other part of the world. I mean, luckily we're trying to export our beliefs a lot less, but there's a negative aspect to that they're trying to shoot people and blow stuff up, and granted there's a lot of protection in there too, but fundamentally, it's something I wish we didn't have to have. But I think it's good that once a year on NORAD Santa time, that it really portrays the lightheartedness and the goodness of the people that are in it. Because sometimes we get fixated on, okay, well, this many people died in Afghanistan, or this terrible thing happened in Iraq or whatever. And I think we lose sight sometimes of the people that actually are members of the military. And it kind of, the vignettes, and, you kind of see the people behind the scenes, and you're like, oh, they're fun. They're happy, and, it's nice. It's nice to see it in a very positive way. So, and I think it's cool.
Stories. Go ahead.
I love the stuff where, they come on and the DSP satellites that, have detected the heat signatures and all that crap. I love it. It's the best.
They do an amazing, NORADSanta.org is the website. If you're a grandparent, a parent, an aunt, an uncle, and you just want to help out kids, it is a lot of fun.
I'm a 44-year-old man. I watch it. It's just fun.
I know. I will check up. You know what? If I am correct, I'm going.
I think they're pre-flighting right now. I think they're pre-flighting at the moment.
Yes, if you go, while you're listening to the show, if you go into NORADSanta.org right now, they are in pre-flight. Santa is checking the presents right now. He's checking the presents right now. All right, they got a big shot of him there, right on the front here. Old Santa is up. The satellites are over top of the North Pole, waiting for him to happen. Oh yeah, this is good stuff. Good stuff.
And anyway, I'll tell you, when I was a little kid, right? In the 80s, it was it was the height of the Cold War. It was really reaching a pretty good clip there. I mean, the most dangerous part obviously was in the 60s, but by the 80s, a lot of the danger had worn off. But, we would still get the missile drills and stuff when I was in school. But, I always really got a kick out of the fact that when Santa came around and he entered NATO, NATO as a collective, their airspace, they would send up fighters to, escort Santa. I don't know what's going to happen. The Soviets are going to, shoot Santa Claus down.
I know.
It was great.
Being Canadian, we always love it because we get the reports of the CF-18s intercepting Santa coming over from the Atlantic and coming into Canadian airspace in Newfoundland. Oh, it's absolutely beautiful. You know what? I am geeked up right now. Yeah, I can feel it. I can totally feel it. While you were talking, I quickly texted upstairs. I'm like, get the kid to check NORADSanta.org. We're in pre-flight. It's like, this is serious stuff. A couple quick stories
here.
Stuff. Oh, yeah. Couple quick stories here before we go. And this one comes from Joe in our chat room, and he's got fantastic hair. He goes, last year, I told a whole bunch of people at a great big Christmas celebration that Santa Claus would be flying over at 9:05. I made them all come outside and look up where I said, "Here he comes." They were amazed. Then Joe goes on to say, I didn't bother to tell him that it was the International Space Station going over. That's fantastic. And a couple years ago, I finished up doing the show, and it was a beautiful night, and, got NORAD Santa tracker going. It's Christmas Eve, and the funny part about it was I go out on my patio because all the stars are out, and I can hear some noise. And I bring my flashlight out with me, and there's 6 deer standing at the fence in my backyard, all looking at me. And I'm like, oh, this is too real. This is way too real right now. This is just amazing. So that was a good memory for me as well. Olaf, we brought you on here because we're going to get into synchronicities. We're going to get into secret space program. We're going to get into secret societies because you and I, over the last couple of weeks, have been talking about the movie Hellyer and this docu-series, which can, if it's on Hellier.tv, you can find it on YouTube for free, or I believe it's on Amazon Prime as well. Greg and Data Newkirk, Connor Randall, Carl Pfeiffer, Tyler Strand, a little bit of John Tenney in there. I mean, what a series. What a series.
Alan Greenfield.
Who, by the way, thanks to you, will be our first guest of 2020 on January 1st. Thank you for that, awesome. By the way. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah,
Alan is fascinating.
Incredibly fascinating, and we're going to ask him a bunch of these questions. But you watched the first series of Hellyer last year.
Right.
Describe your feelings watching that.
The one thing I'm going to tell you is that the production quality is insanely great. I think it's probably the best produced docu-series that I've seen. That it's shot in real time. There's no jump cuts. They let the moments happen as they will. It has the amateur quality that you like, where you're seeing people out there actually doing stuff, but it also has the professional production quality. I mean, it's amazing. It's funny, when I watched it, I had put off watching it forever because I thought it was about Paul Hellyer, the former head Minister of Defense of Canada. And I kept telling my friends, I'm not going to watch this. I'm so over it. I don't want to hear it. He's got nothing to say that I'm particularly interested in. And, maybe that will, make certain people dislike me. But, Paul Hellyer, it's like a whole lot of nothing, for me at least. And, it's reduced down to, well, I feel this. It's like, okay, but you were the Minister of Defense of Canada. If anything happened, I would assume that somebody would have called you up and said, dude, there's some weird stuff happening, over Gander or over, what's that one base? Cold Lake,
Yes.
There's it's creepy time in Cold Lake. You better hear about this. And he's like, no, I never heard about anything. So, I'm like, whatever.
Hold on. I'm going to stop you right there because I don't know if you read my article a couple weeks ago about the Canadian Conservative MP, and the MP's age. MP stands for Member of Parliament. His parliamentary aide contacted UFO writer M.J. Banias right before the Canadian federal election to ask them about UFOs. And anyways, I'm trying to do a follow-up. And I have emailed all the major parties in Canada and not received anything back. I also emailed Paul Hellyer. And I got to say, Graham Sims, who was on the show last week, he's friends with Paul Hellyer, and And I was talking to him. I said, you know what? I said, I think Hellier's holding back. Paul Hellyer is holding back on this whole UFO.
He has to be.
I said, Shag Harbor. I said, he says nothing happened on his watch, yet Shag Harbor happened on his watch.
Amongst other things.
3 weeks after he was ousted, his party was ousted. Or pardon me, not Shag Harbor happened 3 weeks after his party was ousted. While on his watch, the Stefan Mikulik Falcon Lake incident happened. Right? I mean, things happened on his. So Hellyer, Olaf, you'll like this. I said this to Graham, and Graham's like, you know what? I'm talking to Paul on Wednesday. I'm going to ask him. I said, great, let me know. Well, all of a sudden, Thursday, I get an email from Paul answering my questions because I sent him 10 questions that I wanted to quote. And he goes, I wasn't going to attempt to answer your questions because I don't know many of the answers, and I really don't have time to comment. But in the spirit of Christmas, I'm going to give you brief answers to some of your queries. And then I'll save the rest of the answers for my article that I'm writing.
For later.
But then he says, P.S., I don't have secrets, at least none that I talk about. How cryptic is that?
He's holding back.
Exactly.
He's holding back. And it's like, I'm over it. It's like, say it or don't say it, you know? But anyway, so I have this friend Taylor, and he actually listens to the show, and he's going to be listening tomorrow. And I have this friend Taylor, and Taylor sends me a message, and he says, Olaf, you got to watch this show, Hellyer. And I sent him a text message back. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. I'm done with this. And he's like, no, it's not about Paul Hellyer, you idiot. You know, he was much nicer than that, but he's like, it's not about Paul Hellyer. It's about this place called Hellier, Kentucky. I'm like, oh. And he's like, it's the Kentucky Goblins. I'm like, I'm in. So I watched it, and about 5 minutes into the show, I texted him back, and I said, oh my God, this is basically this complete site, or the secret cipher of the UFO knots, right? And then I text them back. I'm all, this is the secret cipher of the UFO knots. They're using the cipher. There's a code, and it just got worse from there. And I was hooked. And the minute Hellier 2 came out, I was all over it. Over it.
Me too.
But I loved it. I thought it was great. And I think,
tell you,
but a lot of things as you watch it, right? A lot of things, if you understand what's going on, at least tangentially, you understand, a lot of things suddenly become obvious, right? And I knew one of the key people that kind of drives their journey, because it's a journey that they're on. One of the key people is this guy, Terry Wrist. And I don't know who Terry Wrist is, but I mean, I know of him. I know his deal. I published the secret cipher of the UFO knots. We call it the complete cipher of the UFO knots because we took the secret cipher of the UFO knots and the secret rituals of the Men in Black. And Alan wanted to combine them both into the same book. And so we combined them into the same book. But, I know, I published the book. Well, all three now, but I published the books. So I obviously knew, who Wrist is. And, it was just, I have I think a pretty cohesive understanding of where I think it's going based on knowledge, knowing Alan, publishing the book, having read it 5,000 times. I think I've got a pretty good idea of where it's headed.
Well, I got to say, Greg and Dana Newkirk, Carl Pfeiffer, and Connor Randall did an amazing job in Series 1, and then with the addition of Tyler Strand in Season 2 to add a little bit of comedy. He is. It's funny because
I love it.
Back in November, on the 27th, John Tenney had to cancel his appearance on this show. So I called up Greg and Dana, and I'm like, do you mind coming on the show? And Greg's like, oh, dude. He's like, I can't. He's like, I can't. But he goes, you're going to be happy with me. And I said, why is that? He goes, Tyler Strand.
Oh, yeah.
When I asked Tyler Strand if he wanted to go on your show, he said, Greg, I'm a massive fan of Spaced Out Radio. He goes, I am so there. And I got on the phone with Tyler, and he's like, oh, I can't believe I'm going to be on SOR. And I'm like, he goes, this is just awesome. You know, everything with Hellier's been awesome, and now this. And
they're all so nice.
I know.
I've
That's the cool part.
with them. I mean, they're nice people. They're super, you know, they're so nice. They're the kind of people where you're like, you know, you want them to succeed. So when you watch Hellyer and Hellyer 2, you're like, you are succeeding, and I'm so happy for you because you're so cool that you deserve this.
No, absolutely, and we're still trying to lock up a date. We're still trying to lock up a date with Greg and Dana, and I've got one date left in January that I'm waiting to get them on with. And we'll see how it goes. Otherwise, it'll have to be in February. But, you know, I love what they are doing. I think that they are on the right track. Oh, yeah. The problem that they have is we only got about 2 minutes before we go to break, is they went down one path. And as you know, Olaf and our listeners, you've heard me say every now and again that when you open a door in this field, you're opening it to look at only 10 more doors. And behind each of those 10 doors is another 10 doors. But there's a reason. But that exact example that I've been trying to explain to people is totally proven in Hellyer and Hellyer 2. Totally proven. Because they go looking for goblins. They're not looking for Bigfoot. They're not looking for ghosts. They're not looking for aliens. They're not looking for secret societies, murder, or some of the grotesque things that goes down. But guess what? Each one of those doors is open through this series, Olaf. We got 1 minute. Yes. But you know, they're on a journey, and you get to tag along on the journey, and the journey is designed to do something. And, you know, if you are knowledgeable about some of these things, you know, you kind of, I think you see what the journey is, right? I agree. Yeah. I mean, they're supposed to face these challenges. They're supposed to have things go good and go bad and go sideways. And that's all part of the process, the greater process. So, I mean, it's not surprising. Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's not surprising, but it's intriguing. It is. It's super intriguing. I mean, it's the kind of thing where, you know, you start binge watching it. It's like The Mandalorian. Yeah. You just have to keep watching. You can't help yourself. Yeah, the only problem is there's only 10, and you can binge watch them in one day, and that's what I did. That's what I did. Well, I binge watched him in 1.5 days, but yeah. Olav Phillips is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We're getting into Hellyer 2, secret societies, and some of the stories that go along with it right here on Spaced Out Radio. How real is this? We'll be back.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you'd know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know little brother is watching.
Finish off your weekend and kick off your new week with me, Everett Thiemer, right here on Spaced Out Sundays. I'm going to bring you great guests, a little bit of snark, and plenty of information to think about. But don't worry, there's going to be plenty of woo as well. We are going to hit everything in the paranormal and supernatural, including the odd psychic Sundays. So tune us in on Sunday, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night.
This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a Space Traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
Looking for something new to push your limits? Look Beyond the Spectrum, a new docu-series featuring some of the best researchers in the world when it comes to everything from UFOs, government cover-ups, and Bigfoot in the forest. Truth seekers like Steve Bassett, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, Richard Dolan, as well as others all chip in to bring their knowledge to you. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon as well as Tubi TV. Tell us what you think on our Amazon page.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Merry Christmas to all of you. We got to take a look at NORAD before we go on. NORADSanta.org. Santa's still having the sleigh being checked right now, and the presents being checked. This is good stuff, people. NORADSanta.org if you want to follow along. The big guy's about to fly away here and start his journey around the world. I'm pumped about this. Pumped about it. By the way, I also want to let everybody else know that we are broadcasting live tomorrow night on Christmas Eve. Samantha Mowat is going to be our guest. I do not know as of yet if we will be broadcasting on Christmas night. We may, but we may not. It all depends on what's happening with my family and what's going on there. If we do, you're more than welcome to join us. I don't have any guests planned, but we'll probably do some sort of open lines, which is something that we don't do usually. Otherwise, it will probably be a replay that we throw on, and I hope you enjoy that. But I will give you guys as much notice as I possibly can for Christmas night. Olav Phillips is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We are talking Hellyer 2, secret societies, secret creatures, the secrets that seem to be all around us. Olav, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
No problem. No problem whatsoever. Right before the break, we were talking about Hellyer 2 in regards to everything that's kind of gone on and how many doors really opened up in Hellyer 2 for the team of Greg and Dana Newkirk, Connor Randall, Tyler Strand, Carl Pfeiffer. You know, before we get too heavy into it, I'm curious, what's your thoughts on this Estes method that they're using?
You know, I'm intrigued by it. I mean, for a long time, right, people have experimented with sensory deprivation tanks and sensory deprivation chambers, and you know, the military did it obviously a lot in Ultra and in other places, but you know, people report some very strange things when they get into sensory deprivation chambers. That they report seeing other people in these, you know, in these environments, and they report hearing voices. And you know, the theory is that because you're sensory isolated, that you're more attuned to the basically what's beyond the veil, shall we say. And so, you know, because of that, it's almost like a trance state. And once you're in the trance state, then you can have easier communication with other entities, ghosts or aliens or whatever you're after. But yeah, I mean, I'm very intrigued by it. Would I do it? I don't know, but I'm very intrigued by the results that they've gotten. Makes you want to try it.
It really is. So for people who don't know, what the Estes method is they put a complete darkness blindfold on the person using it. Then they put soundproof headphones or noise cancellation headphones so they can't hear anything in the outside world. The headphones are plugged into a ghost box. So without the ability to see or the ability to hear what is going on in their environment around them, the paranormal investigators will start asking this person questions, whoever's on the ghost box. They won't be able to hear them, but what they will be able to do is hear the answers coming through the ghost box and going from there. Yeah, and answer them in real time without even knowing what the questions are. My only issue with that, and we're going to try that here, but my only question with that is this. how do they get the ghost box to be so active? Because I could tell you, man, I've got an SB7, same thing they use, okay? And I'm lucky to get one word every 5 times I try out of that. And yet they're getting complete sentences out of there. That's my only concern.
Well, the thing you have to remember about that kind of thing is that basically they're using, it's a lot of times it's Dana Newkirk that does it. And, she's like she's effectively functioning as a conduit. And when you're doing that, if you're empathic or, sensitive or whatever, you're basically like a beacon saying, hey, I'm over here. And so, I think you're kind of adding your power to it. So if you had somebody who's a sensitive, who is the one that's the subject of is performing the function of the conduit, you're probably going to get better results. I mean, I have an SB7. I'm not sensitive really. I mean, in my own way, I guess, but, if I go out and use it, it works okay. If I hand it to somebody who's psychic or sensitive, it works a hell of a lot better. And I think that's because they're drawing those things to them, right? That they're adding their own kind of energy field to it. And I know it sounds kind of woo-woo when you explain it, but these things, the way I think about it is that it's an edge science, right? To say fringe is kind of a bad way to put it. I think of it as more of like an edge science. There's a science to this stuff. Maybe we don't completely understand it, but there's rules, and these things function a certain way. And one thing I noticed, now I don't use them, but whether you're using a Ouija board or you're using an SB7, automatic writing, anything else, if you have somebody who is psychic or at least sensitive, empathic, whatever, you're going to get a lot more results out of it. And I've watched that happen.
Like I look at Mike Morin. I want to try it with him because he seems to have that ability to communicate. You know what I'm saying? Some people just have
I hear you.
Others don't. Mike does. So that's why I want to try it with him.
I always find it interesting that, people will say, well, I'm interested in UFOs, but I've never seen one. And I've gone to places where they should be and they're not, right? And I think, and like I go to the same place and I see them, but I think I don't know if it's intention per se, because I've known plenty of people who go out there with just a tremendous amount of intention, like I really, really want to see this, and nothing happens. I think there's something about your energy field, because, we know for a fact, whether you use Carillion photography or, use a Gauss meter or whatever, that you have an energy field that you emanate. All living objects do. And I think that maybe sometimes people have an energy field that is attuned to certain things, ghosts, or, maybe it's UFOs if you follow the ultra-terrestrial thing or whatever. Going out and sitting in a circle and saying, I want to see a UFO really bad, maybe that's enough. But some people just naturally, I think, emanate a field that's like a beacon. Because, like, if I go somewhere that's haunted, stuff happens to me. If I go somewhere that are supposed to be UFOs, I see one. If I go where there's something, Bigfoot's supposed to hang out, I'll hear something. But a lot of people don't. And I think it's just because of your energy field. You may, like, I knew a woman once a long time ago. She had an energy field, and when she walked down the street, street lights would turn off. And, you hear the stories of people doing that, and you think, oh, that's BS, and that's not true. I watched it happen. I witnessed it. So I know it works, at least for her. So, everybody has their own kind of an energy field that they emanate. Some people are magnetic. It depends, but I definitely think that each person has their own kind of beacon that they put out.
Yeah, I would agree with that, with that statement. So when it comes to Hellyer 2, at first they started looking for these goblin-like creatures, and then the weird emails came.
Right.
Do you believe there is goblins in these long, statewide caves that seem to be interconnected?
Well, the Kelly Hopkins case is the most famous goblin case in Kentucky, and there's a thing called the Kentucky Goblins, but that was on the other end of the state. So, I've looked and looked and looked, and I can't find a lot of goblin sightings in that part of Kentucky outside of the Hellyer thing. So I think there's something larger at play. But yeah, I mean, there are sightings, all over Kentucky of these little 3-foot tall goblin creatures. They leave footprints with 3 toes, and there's something going on. Do I think they're actually in there? Yeah, I do. I think they, as a cryptid form, that there are Kentucky goblins, and there are plenty of people that can send you photos of the footprints, or they say they've seen them. It's as pervasive as Bigfoot is here. So yeah, I would say they exist. Sure, I've not seen one, but.
Well, I'm just wondering, in regards to the whole aspect of these caves, I was expecting to see something this time. I was expecting to see something.
I think you
weird.
did.
Well,
I think you did.
We saw the doors open. That opens up to literally probably another 10 years worth of Hellyer seasons, to be honest.
Oh, I don't think so.
No.
No.
Think that.
This is, so the one, look, I'll warn you now. Spoiler alert. You have not watched it. You can't talk about it and not spoil it, right? Now, I would argue to you that going into it with your eyes open in the case of Hellyer is probably a good thing, because there are things that that you would miss if your eyes aren't open, right? But I think we saw a lot of stuff. I mean, the Frank's box thing that they did was very interesting for a lot of reasons. The hypnotic regression thing that they did, that was very interesting. So I think we saw a lot of things, but I don't think it's going to take 10 years. This is gonna culminate much faster than 10 years. It's just I think there's a process going on, and I think they're in the beginning stages of it. And once they complete the beginning stages of this process that they're on, and they get to the functional part, I don't think it'll take 10 years. I think it'll actually be fairly rapid, because whatever Rist's ultimate objective is, and I think I have an idea of what it might be, but whatever Rist's ultimate objective is, he's got him on a timeline, he's got him on a path. This Rist has thought this through. This is not hopscotch. He's leading them where he wants them to be.
What's the purpose?
Right?
What's the purpose in your estimation?
Well, he's taking them on a journey. They're obviously on the hero's journey, right? Where, you go up, you go down, you go up, you go down, you go sideways, you go forwards, you go backwards. And in the process of doing that, you come to have a better understanding of yourself. And the reason that that's significant is that when you've completed that journey and you come out on the other, and we've all done it in some way ourselves. Maybe you had something happen to you that was emotionally devastating, and the way you reconstruct your life post-catastrophic event, you have a better understanding of who you are, what you want out of life, what you want out of the people around you. Or maybe you get into a car accident and you have to go through physical therapy. The pain and the suffering and the joys and the achievements that you experience going through that physical therapy, when you get out on the other side, you've got a pretty damn good understanding of who you are. And that's critical, I think, in this case, because I think when they come out on the other side, they're going to be participating in something significant.
Why choose them? Why would Terry Rist Okay, first off, before we even get started here, we got about 8 minutes before we go to break. Explain to people who Terry Wrist is, because anybody who has watched Hellyer will know that there is something strange about this.
Okay, so Terry Wrist, so most of what I know about Terry Wrist comes from Alan Greenfield. And Alan knew Wrist through some organizations that they were in. Right, Alan will explain this to you far better than I can, but I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. So they were involved in some occultist activities, right? Alan is a former member of the OTO, the Ordo Templis Orientis, and that's the Crowley operation. So, Wrist, and like Greenfield, Wrist was a Thelemite, believed in Thelema. That's the Aleister Crowley magical stuff. So Wrist was very active in that stuff, and Greenfield, I think, I'm not going to speak for Alan any day of the week, but I think the kind of assumption from talking to him is that Wrist is still involved in that stuff in some capacity, whether he's in the OTO or not, who knows, but he was very interested in those kinds of things. And I can't tell you why he chose them, but he had a reason, because everything that he does, he has a reason. But as far as him as a person, you get the basics. He was a Vietnam vet. He's an occultist. Apparently, he has quite the obsession with Shaver and the Lemurian underground cities and Shaver's rock books. I guess he was fascinated by the rock books, the Shaver rock books. And he used to talk to Greenfield quite a bit about Shaver stuff and the underground mysteries and whatever. And one day he just disappeared. He just vanished and took off. But he's a very, from what I understand, he's a very senior practitioner of magic, so to speak. That he's very sophisticated, and he knows exactly what he's doing. So, that plays a role here. And everything that he does, there's a reason, right? Now, this has been going on years in the making, though, back to 2012. Sure. That's why I'm telling you, I think I have an idea of what the ultimate objective is, based on the amount of complexity that has gone into preparing them. See, the thing is that the reason that they're on the hero's journey is that they're not in the show. It's kind of like you get this feeling of like they're trying to initiate something, and I think that what's actually going on is that they are being initiated, right? That they're being prepared, and it's kind of like initiate. There's like the Webster's version of initiate, and like an initiate, and then there's the Crowley version or the occultist version of initiate, right? So that's where we're having a disconnect here, and I think they're initiates. I think they're being prepared to perform some function in a larger activity. In the occultist world, one word for that is what's called a working. And a working is where you have a series of rituals that culminate in an event. That you're opening doors, closing doors, moving things around to prepare for something, and then you do it. But it could take decades to actually work out an entire working, to complete all the rituals required for the final ritual event. It could take you 10 years to get everything prepared. And I think that's what you're seeing. I think that they're being prepared for an ultimate event.
Olav Phillips is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We got about 3 minutes before we have to go here. So this Terry Wrist person that you believe is real?
Absolutely.
Okay. So with that...
I absolutely think he's real. Yeah.
Okay, with that, do we know anything more about him? Like you mentioned, he's a Vietnam veteran. You mentioned that he is...
right.
He's been a part of following Aleister Crowley for decades, and when I think Crowley, I think sex cults. That's what that's kind of what, maybe that's all I took out of it, but that's honestly what I believe.
No.
But
more complex than that.
No, I understand that. But this is just so
let's worry less about the Crowley aspect, because he may have moved in a different direction. What he is he's an occultist. That he's interested in magic and mysteries and mystery religions in general, right?
Okay.
It might be shamanistic. I mean, but somehow he's trying to pierce the veil, and to do things to pierce the veil, or he's in contact with entities beyond the veil. However you want to think about it.
Is he somebody whom the Newkirks or anybody involved with Hellyer should be concerned about as we go into our final minute here? Or 2 minutes?
I don't think so. Based on what I understand about him and where I think this is coming from, I don't think so. I think that it is a benevolent operation. I don't think that it's malevolent. I think my suspicion, if I'm right about what the end goal is, is he's trying to close something that was open before. And they pretty much said that in the show, but I think I figured out what it was. Maybe, possibly, it could be anything. But
well, that's the mystery. Is we really have no clue. We really have no clue,
and they don't either. That's the power of what they're doing, is that they're being led, right?
If you were in Greg and Dana's shoes, or anybody, because Carl Pfeiffer actually made a comment when they were in Somerset that he doesn't know if he wants to go down that whole road, because Carl Pfeiffer is a very good man. He's very Christian as well, and it was scaring him a little bit. Because it's really starting to test his own personal faith as well.
Part of the journey. That's all part of it.
But that's easy to say, Olaf. It's another thing when you're living that reality.
It is part of. I'm not saying that they. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that having your faith tested is a good thing. I personally think that's not good, right? If you have faith, just have it. It's okay. You shouldn't have to have it tested. That means something bad is happening. But it is part of the journey to test the limits, the boundaries of your beliefs and your kind of how you see the world. You can't unsee things. And when you do stuff like that, you can't, the whole thing with the cup, right? The cup, I think, is actually quite significant.
Well, let's get into that. Let's get into that when we come back, because I want to ask you about Alan Greenfield as well, whom you publish. Olav Phillips is our guest tonight. We're breaking down the back end of Hellyer. What kind of secret society is this all about? We'll be back with more Spaced Out Radio in Hour 2.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio fans! It's John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. Our goal is to make the life of veterans, first responders, and those with rare medical conditions 10% happier. We do this by donating one grant item, ranging from vans to therapy programs to prosthetic limbs, to those who need it most. To contribute to Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and become a donor today.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
For the price of one cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spacedoutradio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
A little bit of science, a little bit of skepticism. Add a dash of snark and you have the makings of Spaced Out Sundays with me, Everett Thiemer. Together we will look into the reality of the paranormal with an open eye and rational thought. Oh, did I mention there'll be plenty of woo as well? Your time spent with Spaced Out Sundays will make the night even better. The chat rooms are open, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night.
This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us, especially if you're listening in on WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, KDNF AM 1560 in Dangerfield, Texas, on 93.7 FM, KZFX in Ridgecrest, California. Hi to everyone listening. And we're on UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans. On the digital side, thanks to everybody tuning in on Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. Great to have you with us. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free. All you got to do is go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just remember to do Davey the old favor and hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Abominus. Oh, pardon me. Abdominus is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We got a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Do a little shopping at the SOR Vault. Do me the favor. Grab a great book at We Read the Night. We also have the Space Travelers Club up and running for $5 a month. And Captain Shirk is always ready with the SOR Newswire, which is updated daily. We're talking synchronicities, especially around the series Hellyer. Olav Phillips is our guest tonight on the show. He is the editor of Paranoia Magazine. Welcome back, Olaf.
Hey.
Right before the break, you were talking about the theory that you have of what is going on.
Right.
And a gentleman who goes by Terry Wrist. This is all involved in the series Hellyer, which can be found on YouTube, Amazon Prime. It can be found on Hellyer.tv. It's a phenomenal, phenomenal series of really pushing the limits to the paranormal. Your thoughts on your own personal theory here?
Well, okay. So one thing I want to say is that I think it's probably the best 4TN show that I've ever seen. I mean, it has higher production quality than the stuff being put out by the History Channel or anywhere else. So if you're a technical, film nerd or TV production nerd, you will love how they do it. So my theory. Okay, so now you know me. Whenever I provide a theory, the first thing I'm always going to tell you is that I'm just like you and everybody else. I'm not supremely knowledgeable, and I could be wrong. But this is what I think, and it's only what I think, and you can agree or disagree. I think I figured out why Hellyer, and I think I figured out where it's going. I don't know why he chose them. And I know a little bit more than about Terry Wrist in certain ways. than you would by watching the show or reading the book, because I've asked Alan some questions about that on the off chance, the insanely off chance that I ever got an email from terrorists. There are a couple questions I think I could probably ask him to determine whether he was terrorist or just somebody who went on Gmail and made a free account. There's always a danger in our world, right? But I think I figured out, what the end result may be, and I'm pretty confident I understand why Hellyer, Kentucky. And the first thing that you have to remember is that Hellyer, Kentucky is on the opposite end of, not completely opposite, but it's fairly far away from the Kelly Hopkins case that was originally reported in the mid-50s, right? It's way far away. So, are there Kentucky goblins inhabiting that huge, massive cave complex? Maybe. Is there a city down there of Kentucky goblins? Maybe. But Hellyer itself is a very interesting place. Now, when you're talking about weirdness, right, you have to look at the environmental aspects in addition to the spiritual aspects. The spiritual aspects, with a practitioner such as Rist, he could go to the quick stop down the street and make things happen, right? But certain places are more conducive to things happening than others. And one of the things that we know, and I actually found this guy, he had done a kind of study of it for a college, is that limestone, for whatever reason, is a good conductor of this kind of energy. So there is a higher likelihood of things happening in an environment that is surrounded by limestone. Something else that we know in general about Fortean events is that if there's crystals, crystals seem to magnify events that occur, right? So if you're in a cave, like a cavern that has a lot of crystals and crystalline structures inside the walls, you may see ghosts, ghosts are more likely to show up, for example, right? And I think this has to do with the way, energy travels in a waveform. And when you have certain things, it can amplify the waveform or modulate the waveform, right? This is how radio works. Inside your radio, it has crystals, and the crystals are used to tune the stations and change the modulation of the waveforms so that you can tune into channel 4 or channel 102.4 or whatever you're looking for. Hellyer sits on a massive limestone shelf. Now, what's more interesting than that is that the whole area is saturated with zinc nitrate, and zinc nitrate is a crystalline form of zinc. It's not like huge, massive crystals like, you see these caverns that are like geodes, right? These massive quartz crystals that are sticking up. It's more like billions and billions of little tiny crystals. So if you have a limestone shelf covered with billions of little sand particle sized crystals, I think it's basically an amplifier, right? It would be an amplifier for Fortean energy, okay? Additionally, Hellyer, specifically the cavern, this cavern that they keep going to, is adjacent to a fault line. And again, weird things happen around fault lines, whether it's tectonic stress being released or, it's whatever. For whatever reason, there's a lot of energy that's produced, obviously, by a fault line. There's a lot of stress, kinetic energy that these fault lines produce. And sometimes they release the stress in an earthquake. Other times they release the stress in ways that we're just starting to understand. This would be like earthquake lights and things like that. Okay? So just next to the where the cavern is, I think I may know where the cavern is, thanks to the amazing work of somebody I know, who shall remain nameless. That cavern is adjacent to a fault line. So you've got a limestone plateau, you've got billions of zinc crystals, and you've got a fault line. But it gets better. Around Hellyer, not in Hellyer, but surrounding it, there were a series of drill wells that were drilled to test the stuff coming out of it. And it was found, sorry, it's kind of cold here. It was, well, not your cold, my cold, right? It's like 40 degrees.
I'm sorry, this is where I get to laugh.
Yeah, you go ahead and laugh. But when they did the drill holes, right, they found that all surrounding Hellyer, the area, the county that Hellyer's in, all surrounding it, but not in it, because they never drilled a hole there, is they were picking up traces of uranium, thorium, and radon. And the reason that's interesting is that, I guess, when uranium breaks down, it creates thorium, and then the thorium converts into radon gas, which is actually somewhat dangerous. But in these holes that they drilled all over Kentucky, there's an arc of holes that exist around where Hellyer is that show signs of uranium, thorium, and radon. Okay. Now, when you overlay a map, so commonly the USGS and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, I was going to say Association, Administration will do surveys. And one of the surveys they do is for magnetic anomalies. That entire area is a massive magnetic anomaly, and it's probably produced by the limestone, the uranium, thorium, and radon, and the fault line, and the zinc nitrate. Okay, but it gets even better than that. So one of the things in the show that they keep talking about is this connection to Mothman. Point Pleasant. Well, if you go to Hellyer, just north of Hellyer, there's a seam of this stuff called alluvium that runs effectively from Hellyer all the way to Point Pleasant. Now, it is broken in one place, so it is not a contiguous seam, but it probably was, and I suspect it probably still is, kinda, because it's obviously a channel, and the channel was broken at least at some level through natural tectonic activity, but there's probably still a seam of some kind. Now, the alluvium is a leftover from the glacial period, and it's glacial sediment that exists in these deposits, and it's an arc from Hellyer straight into Point Pleasant, right? Now, what's in that alluvium depends on what the glacier was carrying at the time. But there's a tendency, and I have to do more research on what is in that seam, but there is a tendency for these alluvium deposits to be very similar to what you would think of as placer. And placer is a quartz, magnetite, gold, mixed in there with other rocks. But it basically, it's crystalline with magnetite, which is a magnetic rock, and then that has gold in it. So, you grind up placer rocks, you grind them up, and then you sift the gold out. That's how you do placer mining. You have to crush the rocks. Well, if there's crystals in the seam, it would present a conduit directly from Point Pleasant straight into Hellyer, literally straight into where that cave is. And a lot of the places that they're going is immediately adjacent to Hellyer. So again, you're in this magnetic anomaly zone. There's a number of strange site surveys that you can find about that area, and they all lead to it being fairly anomalous. Then you have the 37th parallel, which is this UFO superhighway. So it runs through that area. Well, it also runs through the whole rest of the United States. And where it ends up is rather fascinating, but we can get to that later. But I think that basically I suspect that the reason that RIST sent them to Hellyer and has architected, because this thing is architected. RIST is very deliberate. Everything that he's doing has a reason. He will send an email at a specific time on a specific day because it has a meaning. The emails themselves have meanings. The way that he breaks up the words, they have meaning. And you actually see this at the end of the show, that they have a brain fart and the guy starts to do the math and everything comes out to be 93, 9339, 93, 93, 93, which is an occultish number. And it's basically, as Greenfield puts it, it's a signature. And what that signature means is that this guy, Rist, is aware that he's kind of read into occultism in general, right? But specifically the OTO uses the number 93 as a signature. And 93 is all over everything that Rist does. So he's sending you a message that he's aware and that he's knowledgeable and he's legit. But I think the reason that he sent them to Hellyer is because it's a massive 4T amplifier. So whatever they're doing is being amplified by the space that they're in.
Olav Phillips is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Olav, that kind of breaks down your theory of what is happening. And it I would have said previous to watching episodes 6 through 10 that you're nuts on that. I didn't see it going that way, but after watching episodes 6 through 10 of Hellyer 2 over the weekend, it definitely looks that way. It really does. Right. And I got to admit, I'm a little scared for the crew, and they're friends of this show. They're all friends of this show. I'm not scared for them exactly. I mean, it's a journey. Now, and remember, that explains the where. Then there's 2 why questions, but I'm not scared for them. I'm nervous for them, and it's more about where this thing goes from here, right? Because if I'm right, and a lot of people, you watch the show, you people are telling them. I think that those people are right, and that they're being initiated into something, into a larger working, this series of rituals that culminates in some sort of an event. And I'm nervous for them, not so much that I think they're in danger. I don't think they're in danger at all, based on what I know about Rist. I think that the reason why they're doing this is actually beneficial, and that has to do with who Rist is communicating with. And that my belief on who Rist is communicating with comes out of an interview that Greenfield did with Rist that's in the back of the secret cipher of the UFO Nuts. You can see it in the complete cipher of the UFO Nuts too, but it's in the back. And at one point, he asks Rist if I forget if he says, he asks if he is one of the Third Order secret chiefs or if he's in contact with them. And Rist was very evasive. He changed the subject in the interview. And if Rist is doing the bidding of what's called the Third Order of secret chiefs, then it's most likely beneficial. But I'm nervous because I think where they're at in the process, I think it's going to get a little squirrely now. If they're trying to summon Pan, right?
I think that was a test. I think that was a test to see if they could, and I think they failed that. Obviously, failed that test. But I think that was a test to see if they could handle summoning Pan and having Pan actually appear, because out of all the Grecian gods and goddesses that you could summon, Pan will show up. If you go out and you try to summon Pan, Pan will appear. He's most likely to appear. It has to do with his psychology, the fact that he's a trickster, the fact that he's he wants to mess with you. He wants to show up to see what you do. But he's also not gonna. I've never seen Pan now.
Yeah, I don't like the whole idea of summoning things.
That just the dynamic.
It just never seems to work.
I haven't summoned anything.
I haven't summoned UFOs. Summoned UFOs there for a while, and then that kind of ended. That kind of ended. All right, Olav, I do want to ask you, as we got about 3.5 minutes, and this will probably carry into the next hour as well. For people who do not know, Who is Alan Greenfield, and why is he so important in this topic?
So Alan Greenfield wrote the book that they're using. It's called The Secret Cipher of the UFO Knots. And basically the secret cipher is a cipher that he deduced and that others deduced. Well, there was a way that these entities were communicating. He's a big proponent of the ultra-terrestrials, and it's a substitution cipher that they apparently use to communicate. So basically what you do is you go to the secret cipher, and you put in a word, and then it reduces that word down to a number. Then it takes that number and then it matches other words that have the same numeric value inside the book of, I think it's the Book of Law, right, which is part of the Thelemite beliefs and practices. And so then it gives you a result, and then that result is a phrase or a word, and it's directional in meaning to what you put in. So, for example, you put in the cave, that's a little more complicated. So let's say, for example, you put in Dave Scott, right? And Dave Scott equals the number 164. And then it goes and searches for phrases and words that equal 164 in the Book of Law. I think it's the Book of Law, but it's a book. It looks it up, and then you get a bunch of results. And it could say radio superstar or man of knowledge or, knowledgeable quest, or it could say a bunch of stuff, but you kind of deduce from what the results, like it gives you a directional idea that has to be interpreted, but it gives you a directional idea of a meaning. And Greenfield has said numerous times that once you get good at understanding it through using it, if you put in the location of a UFO sighting, Bigfoot sighting, ghost sighting, cryptid sighting, if you put that into the cipher, the results you get will lead you to the location of another sighting. So let's say that I had a sighting here in Contra Costa County. I put in Contra Costa County, and then I get a result that should lead me to another place where I can see a UFO sighting. It's creepy. It's creepy to use because it does work to some extent, but it requires you to do some interpolation. It's not like it says, well, go to this GPS coordinates at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday and you'll see a UFO. It's not like that, but it kind of gets you there directionally.
Okay, so as we only got about 30 seconds here, when it comes to UFOs or monsters, what's the role Alan plays?
Well, he's actually from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. He was a very well-known ufologist. And I don't know so much that he did a lot of stuff with cryptids, but, he was a contemporary of Keel and Mosley and Gray Barker. He knew these guys. He went out on investigations with these guys. He actually knew John Keel at the time the Mothman stuff was going on. So he was very, very well known back then. But we have amnesia in ufology, so nobody remembers now.
Right. Okay. Well, you hold on. We're going to take a break here at the bottom of the hour. We're going to continue learning about Alan Greenfield, who will be a guest here on January 1st on Spaced Out Radio. What a great way to start the year off on the mighty SOR. We'll continue with Olav Phillips right here on Spaced Out Radio coming up.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night.
This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
Looking for something new to push your limits? Look Beyond the Spectrum, a new docu-series featuring some of the best researchers in the world when it comes to everything from UFOs, government cover-ups, and Bigfoot in the forest. Truth seekers like Steve Bassett, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, Richard Dolan, as well as others all chip in to bring their knowledge to you. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon as well as Tubi TV. Tell us what you think on our Amazon page. Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rockin'. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Every night on Space Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
Finish off your weekend and kick off your new week with me, Everett Themer, right here on Spaced Out Sundays. I'm going to bring you great guests, a little bit of snark, and plenty of information to think about. But don't worry, there's going to be plenty of woo as well. We are going to hit everything in the paranormal and supernatural, including the odd Psychic Sundays. So tune us in on Sunday, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckard, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Past the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Great to have each and every one of you with us. Reminder, if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can check them out on our free YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, do a little shopping on the SOR Vault. You could grab a great book at We Read the Night. Also, check out Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, and the Space Travelers Club is up for sale at $5 a month, so come join us. Olav Phillips from Paranoia Magazine is here tonight talking about the intricacies and the synchronicities of the Hellyer docu-series. Olav, welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. No problem. Glad you're here.
I hope it's
Alan Greenfield. Alan Greenfield, my friend. Okay?
Yes.
He has played a huge role, not by choice, just by happenstance, I think, with Synchronicity and the docu-series Hellyer. And I'm wondering your thoughts in regards to why his story has become so intertwined. I mean, this is a book that was written decades ago, and it's intertwined with everything we are seeing on this fantastic docuseries.
Well, it starts with risk. When you watch a show, this guy contacts them and says that he's got goblins in the backyard, and that his buddy Terry Rist told him he should contact the Newkirks. And they're obviously somewhat shocked by that because their thing is kind of ghosts and haunted objects, and they have a mobile museum which I totally want to check out.
It's really cool, by the way. I have seen it.
I wish I had one day, but it starts with Rist, and Rist contacts them and starts to lead them on this journey, and Rist is using the secret cipher. And so to understand the secret cipher, to be able to utilize it,
all right. Where did you go, Olaf? We're just having a little bit of Skype. Yeah, we got you back. Skype just seemed to kick there for a quick second. So repeat from how... Yeah, there you go. Yep.
So Rist is using the secret cipher. The only book that's ever published the secret cipher is the secret cipher of the UFO Master, the complete secret cipher of the UFO Master, written by Alan Greenfield. So Greenfield has become intertwined in it because he wrote the book that explains the secret cipher and how it relates to ultra-terrestrials and entities. He wrote the book, and he knew Rist. He interviewed Rist. He hung out with Rist, and so he became intertwined with him.
So with Alan, they interview him in Hellyer 2 for a number of hours. 5 hours. He does not seem... It's almost like, when they're coming. That's kind of the attitude he seemed to have with the team from Hellyer. What do you think? Yeah, what do you think?
Further they go down the rabbit hole, the more they're going to want to meet the guy that wrote the book that they're using and New Risk. He, at the present, they do interview a guy who met Risk when he was young, and there are certain things about that interview that are odd based on what I know about Risk. Greenfield could probably speak to it more, but they're, if you want to know about Risk, the only guy who seems to have really met him or known him at all is Greenfield. So I'm sure that once Greenfield deduced that they were using the book and in the show, that they, it was inevitable that they would come to Greenfield, because I think if anybody has a really good understanding of what is actually going on, it's Alan Greenfield. Because number one, he knew Risk, at least at some level, and number two, he was a part of the OTO. He was very, very high up in the OTO, and so he knows what the OTO has done. He knows what the various Crowleyites have done and the Lemites have done. So he's going to have a much better understanding of that cosmology than anybody else. And again, he wrote the book, so it was inevitable that they would contact him.
Right. We had a little bit of an audio issue. I just want to explain what happened here. When you kind of got kicked out there by Skype for a couple of seconds, it seemed to screw with our audio volumes, and you did get cut out a bit, but we've got everything figured out now. So I apologize to our audience for that little technical snafu there. Okay. So
You
yes.
talk about this stuff. When you talk about this stuff, weird stuff happens. I'm telling you.
Oh, you're so tinfoil. You're so tinfoil. I love it. That's what I love about
you.
But
it's true. It's true, though. One of the things that I did want to mention is that in a working, this idea that you do a series of rituals that culminate in an event, right? And it could take decades to actually do it. At some level, once you're exposed to the process, you can kind of, on the very outer edge of it, you can start to experience your own synchronicities related to it. So, we all start to experience those synchronicities as well. So,
right.
This is one of them. I'm not surprised.
So what do you think the team's going to do? What do you think their next move is?
I think if I'm right, that they're being led toward a working of their own. I think they have to start it. And given that Risk was fascinated by Shaver and the Shaver mysteries and the Lemurians and the Shaver's rock books, which are basically, you would take these rocks and you would slice them into very thin slices and project light through them, and they would show you basically books. I think that they're going to end up going somewhere that's Forteanly active to begin a process, to actually begin the process of whatever they're being led to do. That they'll start the working, so to speak, somewhere. And given Risk's fascination with Shaver, I would say it's probably Shasta.
Why Shasta?
But I don't think it's going to end there. So, supposedly, under Shasta is a city, and it's supposed to be like a Lemurian city. And, it's inhabited by good people and bad people, the Darrows and all that, in the Shaver world. So, but it's a very spiritually active place, that if you go there, it has a feeling, it has a vibe, it has a wavelength to it, that you go to Shasta and you feel it. There was a cult called the I Am movement, and the guy who started it, he went to a place called Panther Meadow. And when he was at Panther Meadow, supposedly he met Lemurians at Panther Meadow, and other people have claimed to have met Lemurians at Panther Meadow. So, Panther Meadow is a spiritually active place. There are a lot of UFO sightings there. There's just a lot of mojo on Shasta itself. So, and even the Native Americans, the Yurok who inhabited that area, they believed that the Wage was a group of kind of ascended masters. If you read into the way they describe them, they were kind of ascended masters that came off of Shasta and taught the Yurok a whole bunch of skills and things about the world, and eventually they left, and they supposedly went north to join the others, and they left behind one Wage who was the speaker to deer, and he could communicate with animals, and eventually he got lonely and he missed them, and he went north to find them. And actually down here, because you hear this stuff and you think it's kind of frou-frou, right? Well, down here in the early 1900s, they were excavating to put in a railroad station in Concord, California, and they uncovered I think it was a 7 or 8 foot tall man buried, and they eventually brought out a guy from the Smithsonian, an archaeologist, who took possession of the individual and all his grave goods, and then shipped it off to the Smithsonian, and of course it disappeared. But there were a number of news stories that were posted at the time that this giant skeleton was found, and in the grave goods, the stuff that was buried with this guy, I think he even had red hair, but he had objects that were Yurok, which you would expect, right? If he had come from the Shasta area, he would have Yurok and Klamath Native American objects, but he also had a bunch of objects that were determined at that time to be Filipino, Chinese, Japanese, as well as Polynesian. So amongst the stuff that he was buried with, you have this kind of Pan-Asian, Pan-Pacifica kind of archaeological debris, as well as Yurok and Klamath. And it's interesting because he was 8 feet tall, and the Yurok described the Wage, these ascended masters, kind of as being very tall. They didn't have like feet, but the way they were described would be like 7 or 8 feet tall. And their belief in this was so significant that when the Europeans came to this area, they came on ships, and they called them the Wagesh, the people of the clouds. And they believed that the Europeans were riding on islands that were being pushed toward the shore by clouds, because they saw the brown wood of the ship and they thought that was land, and they thought the billowing sails were clouds. Of course, it was a very negative interaction that they had. The Europeans at that time decided to kill them, which is super bad, but they called them the Wagesh, and they identified them with the Wage who had come off of Shasta. So, there's a lot of spiritual stuff, Fortean stuff that occurs on the mountain. It's very powerful when you go there. So I think they're going to start whatever they're supposed to do, the actual mechanics of it. I think they're going to start it on Shasta, but I don't think it's going to end there. I think that's a start.
Olav Phillips is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. He's with Paranoia Magazine. We're talking about Hellyer, the docu-series tonight. Olav, this talks about getting into occultism, which scares a lot of people. Right. I get a little weirded out. We saw Connor Randall get a little weirded out from the Hellyer team. All right, he is a very Christian fellow by faith, and this really seemed to push his limits as to what is going on. And one of the things that I found quite intriguing was at one point, one of the team members referred to this almost like the 1990s Tom Cruise movie Eyes Wide Shut, with a lot of the exploitation of women and sex cults and pedophilia, things like that.
Right.
In Somerset, Kentucky, where a lot of this is going on, where a lot of the clues have led.
The cult of the Green Man. Right.
Yes. I mean, this is where things get a little scary.
Right.
So I guess my question for you is this. Can you have the paranormal without these weird ritualistic cults?
Sure. Absolutely. The paranormal exists. Well, I go beyond the paranormal, right? I'm going to say the 4TN, which encompasses the paranormal and elements of ufology, Bigfoot, cryptids, all that stuff. It can't exist without occultism. The occultism is a means by which some people seek to contact it, to pierce the veil. But there are places that you can go that just pierce the veil. You could pierce the veil just naturally, if you're sensitive and you can see ghosts or talk to them. You're a clairaudient. They talk to you. You're clairvoyant. You can hear them in your head. You don't need to be in a secret society, or you don't need to be, an occultist to experience the paranormal or the 4TN. It just they harness their understanding to attempt to use that as a means to contact entities beyond the veil, and the veil being this generic thing. It could be UFOs, it could be ghosts, it could be monsters, it could be anything. But it's just a process by which they figured out that they can get in contact with these things versus, you going outside and meditating would probably do the same thing. So I don't think you have to be an occultist to see a ghost at all.
No, but in the areas of where this story leads, it does lead to areas that are questionable. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
It leads
Absolutely.
to places that are scary for a lot of people.
Sure. And I think that's part of the test. I think that risk is taking them on a journey that has to test their limits, because what's next will require them to have a different perception of the world around them, and that they're going on a journey that has to test their limits to see if they're ready. Right? Because ask yourself a question, right? You watch that show. If they had summoned Pan and you saw Pan, what are you going to think? But you're just watching it on a screen. What are they going to think? They're in this cavern and, down under the ground, and a Pan shows up and is like, hey guys, how's it going? Are they going to freak out? Are they ready for that? Right? So they're being tested along the way to make sure that they're ready to do whatever, the risk needs them to do, wants them to do, that maybe the secret chiefs have asked risk to act on their behalf as an agent to get them to do whatever the combination is. They need to be ready. So, he doesn't want them to get scared off, and he's taking them through a series of tests and trials to make sure that they're prepared. That's why I think it went that way.
From the best of your knowledge, okay, a lot of people who have seen this, and we're going to talk a lot about this in the final half hour that we have for you or with you tonight, coming up in hour 3. But I do have to ask this. A lot of people who are seeing this, if they're involved in the paranormal in any way, shape, or form, are talking about their own personal synchronicities with the show. We've seen the characters in this, and I hate to use that term, whether it's Greg, Dana, Tyler, Connor, or Carl, have their own strange synchronicities with everything in this field that just keeps leading them down these roads. But there's now a number of people out there, myself included, who are starting to see synchronicities with what they are doing in the paranormal and how it ties to things in Hellyer. And it could be a paranormal investigation, or it could be something that just someone says it's a one-word sentence, or just one word that just triggers something in the person who's viewing's mind.
Right. Totally possible.
So what's going on with that?
Well, so there are a couple things at play, right? Number one, I think by seeing it the way that it's made and the fact that they're not using jump cuts, that they run it, it's a solid one-shot deal. So, you have a lot of trust as a viewer that you're seeing something accurate, right? On one hand, it's changing or it's changing potentially your perspective of what you're seeing. And now you're thinking, oh, they're having synchronicities. You're now aware of synchronicities, so now you start to see them more. This is the Schrodinger's cat thing. Can I hear the cat meow so it exists? Am I bringing it into reality because I hear meowing, so I assume, or is there really a cat in there? If I leave, does the cat go away? Right? It's, maybe you're seeing the synchronicities because you're now aware of synchronicities. Maybe you're seeing synchronicities because it has altered your perception of things around you. Or you're maybe, what synchronicities are, but you're becoming more attuned to it at that moment because you're watching them go through it and you're saying, oh, well, this ties into something that I do too. The other thing that can happen, and it doesn't always happen, so I don't want a bunch of your listeners to go, oh my God, I'm not going to watch that show now because it's going to affect me. It's not quite like that. But what can happen if you're open to it, and that's a very important thing in this, right, that if you want to see a ghost, you kind of got to be open to it. You know that. I mean, you've gone and seen ghosts. You know how it is. If your mind is closed, nothing's going to happen. Well, if your mind is open enough, you can actually become part of the larger event because you're witnessing it and you're thinking about it. You can, if you allow yourself to be, or you're open to it, you can actually become part of it by witnessing it. And I've seen this happen before. That, I was part of an experiment a long, long time ago where we broadcast a sound, and that sound was supposed to make things manifest, right? And so, of course, for us, we're involved in broadcasting that sound. So, things are happening to us. But at the same time, some of the other people who listened to it through the radio, they had things happen to them. Some people did, some people didn't. It kind of depended on how you felt about the whole thing in general. If you think it's BS, nothing's going to happen. If you're open to it, then something might happen. Well, in this case, you're kind of the passive tag along for their journey. And in doing that, if you have an open mind and you're engaged and your mind or your theology or your belief system or whatever is open to being a part of what they're doing, you kind of intrinsically become part of it just by being the viewer of it. Now, that's not always true. If you watch the show and you think, I don't want to be a part of this, I just want to watch it, right? Then nothing's going to happen. But if you watch the show and you think, wow, that would be super cool, I wish I was there, well, now you're opening yourself up to it. And the greater universe is aware of that, and then you can become a part of it, potentially. But you know, if you don't want that to happen, when you turn on Hellyer, just say, hey, I don't want to be a part of this, I just want to watch it. I'm here for entertainment only. And then nothing will happen. It's not that invasive.
Hold on. We're going to get more into synchronicities with Olav Phillips from Paranoia Magazine as we talk Hellier 2 docu-series tonight. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio's Hour 3 coming right up.
A little bit of science, a little bit of skepticism. Add a dash of snark and you have the makings of Spaced Out Sundays with me, Everett Thiemer. Together we will look into the reality of the paranormal with an open eye and rational thought. Oh, did I mention there'll be plenty of woo as well? Your time spent with Spaced Out Sundays will make the night even better. The chat rooms are open, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night.
This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rockin'. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckard, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Appreciate each and every one of you tuning us in on UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans. In Ridgecrest, California, KZFX 93.7 FM. We got KDUN, AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, and KDNF, AM 1560 in Dangerfield, Texas. On the digital side, hi to everyone listening in on Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. Don't forget, you can check out all of our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Abdominus. Abdominus is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Grab a great book at We Read the Night. Do some shopping at the SOR Vault. We got the Space Travelers Club for $5 a month, and Captain Shirk has you up to date on the news wire each and every day. For the final time tonight from Paranoia Magazine, we have Olav Phillips with us. We're breaking down the Synchronicities of Hellyer, the great series, which can be found on YouTube, Amazon Prime. Greg and Dana Newkirk, Connor J. Randall, Carl Pfeiffer, Tyler Strand, John Tenney, all part of this strange case, my friend. Olav, welcome back.
Thank you.
Right before the break, we were getting into synchronicities and how many people who are viewing this are seeing their own synchronicities within this entire docu-series. I have found a couple from my own. First one, this goes back to Series 1 and in Series 2 earlier on, which is how many people are tied to the name Carl. Whether it's Carl Pfeiffer, Indrid Cold's son, Carl. There just seems to be Carls everywhere. And considering our own alien here, our mascot, is named Carl, I just find that intriguing. The second one was when they were interviewing in Season 2 Alan Greenfield. He talked about UFOs. Okay?
Right.
And he talked about this stingray. What's really weird was and my audience knows this because I mentioned it to them if they were listening, which I think they were. When I had an experience a few weeks ago, in a dreamlike experience, there was this UFO flying around. And this is way before I saw episodes 1 through 10. All right? And this UFO, when it kind of did its silhouette, or it turned its bottom to us, it had a blue stingray on the bottom. So imagine me yesterday watching Hellyer 2, and Alan Greenfield is talking about UFOs with stingrays on them.
Right.
That tripped me out, man. That it blew my mind. It was eerie, very eerie. I jumped off of the couch and I went, "You got to be kidding me! You got to be kidding me right now!" But that was it.
Well,
that was it,
and that's important. The Carl thing and the stingrays, it's important because from Greenfield's perspective, and I share this belief with him, that and I suspect Riss does as well. All these things, whether you're talking about UFOs or cryptids, ghosts, I don't believe in that, but I believe he does, but you can ask him. He's the person to tell you what he believes. But I think that the cryptids and the UFOs and all this stuff is all interlinked, that they're all linked together, and that's this notion of the ultra-terrestrial, right? Because again, you know, when Carl is put under in the hypnotic test that they did, right? And that's one of the things I love about that show, is that they're actually pushing the boundaries and they're trying these things out. When he's put under, he describes talking to a praying mantis. And the praying mantis has actually been seen in UFO abductions or in contactee experiences, because obviously abductions and contactee experiences are very different, right? But the praying mantis has been referenced as an occupant of UFOs. So he's talking to a praying mantis who's explaining these things to him, you know, and you're seeing the stingray and Carl, you know, Carl's the alien. You know, it leads you down a path of the ultra-terrestrials, of this idea that all these things are interlinked, the goblins, Bigfoot, the Jersey Devil, UFOs, all these things, you know, come from a similar entry point, that there maybe Bigfoot is multi-dimensional, which a lot of people believe, because every time somebody takes a photo of them, it's blurry, right? And some people even take the next step and they say, well, ghosts are tied into this as well, that it's some sort of a dimensional, you know, multi-dimensional, you know, entity, which could be. But yeah, that's definitely, you know, I think these synchronicities are hitting you, and you're finding these tie-ins, and it's getting you more interested in it, and it's opening your mind to seeing the connections between Carl the alien and the experience of Hellyer, you know, or this idea of the praying mantis or the stingray, etc.
Well, and the thing is, with the stingray, Samantha Mowat, who will be my guest tomorrow night on the show, and I'm going to talk to her about this as well. She was in my dream. All right. She was there. I have never, in all of my UFO dreams and experiences that I recall, outside of seeing the alien for the first time, the day I met Samantha. All right. I've never had her as part of an encounter since then.
Right.
And when I messaged her that morning when I woke up, because it was extremely vivid to me, all right,
sure,
she had actually mentioned as well, when I brought up the stingray on the bottom of the craft, she had actually mentioned that for the past few weeks, she had been seeing stingrays on craft as well as logos.
There you go.
So it just isn't me just saying, you know, here's this weird story. Listen to what I'm saying. Buy into it. I mean, this is where I get weirded out. This is what opens up a plethora of questions.
I'll give you an even bigger thing to weird you out. You know, I've never met Carl. I don't know much about Carl except what you told me. But and this was the point of my book when I wrote it way back when, if you have a UFO, right, and it's an alien ship from Zeta Reticuli, Barnard Star, I don't know, pick something. If I'm an alien, why do I have a stingray on the bottom of my ship? Why do I have stingray logos inside my ship? Why would I have human iconography in my ship if I'm an alien? There's only two reasons. I'm either not an alien, I'm from here, and I know what a damn stingray is, or it's being projected on there for some reason that will become significant to you, right? And so maybe in this case, if Carl is indeed an alien versus an ultra-terrestrial, and that's a belief thing that comes down to what you believe aliens are by their very nature, if they are aliens or maybe they're time travelers or, you know, they're multidimensional or whatever. You know, you have two choices. Either they know what a stingray is, and the stingray is significant to them for some reason, so they painted it on the bottom of their ship, or it's an icon that is purposefully put on there so you can see it, so that it would trigger some reaction. In this case, you're talking to her, and she saw the same thing, and it's validating your experience. So either way you cut it, you know, it's there for a reason. I think in your case it was so that you would recognize it and you would tell her, and then she would say, oh, I saw it too. And then suddenly it's like, uh-oh, you were in my dream. You saw the same ship I did, or at least one of the same ships that I did, or a ship belonging to the same group as the one that I was on. Now that's something that validates your experience.
It's still strange. It's very strange. Very strange that these are happening to everyday people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm right there with you. I think it's bizarre. That's why I chase it. I want to understand it. I want to figure out what it is.
Me too.
Wherever it leads me. Yeah.
Why do you think all of this is going on?
So there are three questions. Why them? Why Hellyer? And why is Risk doing this? The why them, I have no idea. I cannot even begin to fathom why. There's a reason why he chose them. Maybe it's the numbers of their names. He liked their shows the videos that they made. He saw the mobile museum and thought it was cool. I don't know. The why Hellyer, I think I explained pretty decently that it's an anomalous zone, and it is basically an amplifier. So whatever they're doing is being geometrically amplified by the geophysics of Hellyer itself. Why is he doing it? So that's an interesting question, and I really racked my mind about it. And I thought to myself, they kept talking about portals, that the goblins are the gatekeepers and all this kind of stuff. And I thought to myself, what's the biggest, aside from anything that Crowley did, and if Crowley did it, Crowley would have closed what he did, because, I mean, he was the leader. You know, if anybody knew how to do that stuff that he was teaching people how to do, it would have been him. So I went through and I racked my brain, what's the one thing that I know that somebody tried to do and they failed? Right? And they would have left a portal open. So back in the day, many, many moons ago, there was a guy named Jack Parsons, and Jack Parsons was a brilliant chemist. He was kind of nuts, but he was a brilliant chemist. And he worked on the solid fuel that was used in the early rockets. I think he was one of the co-founders of Aerojet, which makes fuel for rockets, and he was one of the founders of JPL. In fact, the joke was that JPL meant Jack Parsons' lab. Well, one of the other things that Jack Parsons was a massive occultist. He was a member of the OTO. He had corresponded with Crowley. Crowley was actually quoted as, well, he wrote in letters, quoted, that he thought that Parsons was an up-and-comer, and that he was really excited and thought that Parsons was going to do great stuff. Well, one day, Jack Parsons and his buddy L. Ron Hubbard of Scientology fame decided that they wanted to do this massive thing out in the desert, or they wanted this massive thing. And so they called it the Babylon Working. And basically what they did is they went out into the desert. It's a working, so it's a whole series of rituals that they performed that culminated with them opening a portal and downloading, I guess for the lack of a better term, this sacred feminine energy, maybe Ishtar, something like that. And then Parsons would be having relations with this woman. I forget her name. It escapes me at the moment. But in the process of doing what they're doing, their adult activity, while this energy is coming out of the portal, that the woman would become impregnated with this energy and give birth to a child, and then that child had a mystical, a mystical function. And one of the proposed functions of that mystical child would be to initiate the end of the world, or to initiate some sort of change in the world that was significant. And some people believe that the child was supposed to be the homunculus, which was supposed to end the world, or massively change it energetically or spiritually or whatever. Well, Parsons failed. In fact, Parsons failed so badly that L. Ron Hubbard and the woman, whose name I can't remember at the moment, I guess, according to reports, I don't know if it's true or not, and I don't want to get in trouble, but supposedly they stole a bunch of Parsons' money and took off. And the thing went so badly that Parsons was like, no, we didn't fail. Give it 7 years and then this thing's going to happen. Well, 7 years later, nothing happened. And Crowley actually wrote a letter to another person whose name I don't remember, but referred to Parsons as a weak-minded fool, and said that he was very disappointed in Parsons because he failed. Well, in failing to execute the working properly, he may have left a portal open, and Risk may have been contacted. Again, if you believe all this stuff, Risk may have been contacted by the Third Order of Secret Chiefs to go close the portal, and he decided that for whatever reason, the crew of adventurers that are doing Hellyer were the right people to help him close the portal, or to close the portal. Why, I don't know, but I believe that may be the end result, is that they go out into the desert where L. Ron Hubbard and Jack Parsons perform the Babylon Working, and they reverse it. That is one possibility. I believe that because it's the most catastrophic failure that I'm aware of by an OTO initiate to try to do some sort of massive working. And they may be going to reverse it. And, Rist was an OTO guy. Greenfield was an OTO guy. Parsons was an OTO guy. L. Ron Hubbard was an OTO guy at the time. So it makes sense that's the most catastrophic failure that I'm aware of. Now, it could be something completely different, but it would make sense because they had to open a portal to retrieve this sacred feminine energy out of the ether space to impregnate the woman with it. And maybe that's the objective. It makes sense to me. My gun instinct is that may be what it is. So that's why. But that's a big deal. That's a super, super big deal to try to do.
We have about 4.5 minutes left with you tonight. Olav Phillips, our guest from Paranoia Magazine. Olav, looking at Hellyer, obviously there's going to be a season 3. This is just getting more and more popular as it goes. And good on this crew for doing this, because they are fantastic people. Fantastic people.
They really are.
In regards to, and I do have to admit, I was a little caught off guard when I'm watching episode 6, and all of a sudden my voice comes on. I had no idea they were doing that.
Oh, yeah.
No idea.
I was like, damn, I know somebody famous.
I was like, damn, who is that guy? So for people who haven't seen episode 6, they go into this where they're releasing Hellyer 1. They do this like backflash where they're releasing Hellyer 1, and Carl Pfeiffer and Greg Newkirk are texting, and then they go into all these radio broadcasts. And the first one is from the night when I was reading the intro to Greg and Dana Newkirk being on the show. And I was absolutely stunned that it was there.
I was so happy.
Absolutely.
I'm so happy for you.
Dude, they didn't even ask me. I would have let them. I mean, no matter what, if they would have asked my permission, I would have let them. But they did credit us, which I'm very, very thankful for. And awesome. I was blown away. But looking towards episode 3 or series 3 of this, where do you see it going?
Right.
What's the goal now? Is it the goblins? Are the goblins even worth it anymore?
The goblins are the symptom, not the disease. Right. I think that what you're going to see in season 3, if I'm right, is that they're going to initiate the sequence of events to close a portal of some kind, whether I'm right and it's the Babylon working, or undoing that, or I'm wrong and it's some other portal. Maybe it'll bring world peace. I don't know. But I think you're going to see the path of them starting to, because it can take years to do this stuff. I think you're going to see the path, them beginning the path, maybe at Shasta, to start the process to do whatever Rist has laid out for them. I think it's going to get really squirrely and really weird. That's what I think.
I think you're right there. I'm just wondering how many more people are going to be pulled in, because we see a lot of people being pulled into this.
More and more. Again, if you're open to it, I want to stress that. If you're open to it, the power of what they're doing geometrically increases as more people become involved in it. That's the one thing about this, is that if you are open to it, and again, if you're of a belief system where you don't want to be a part of it, you just want to watch it, and see it as entertainment. When you turn it on, just go, you know what? I don't want to be a part of this. This is just entertainment. Turn it on and then watch it and enjoy it. But if you have an open mind, you can become part of the cumulative energy for whatever they're doing, if you want to be. But it's your decision.
Olav, we got about 1 minute left here. Do me a favor. Tell everybody about your podcast. Tell everybody where they can find Paranoia Magazine.
Oh, gosh. ParanoiaMagazine.com. Paranoia Magazine on Facebook. You can find me. I'm Olav Phillips. I'm on Facebook. Send me a message. I'll respond. I'm on Instagram. Paranoia Mags on Instagram. You can see all my culinary delights. I am the Paranoid Baker, and I travel around a lot and go see weird stuff. In fact, I just got back yesterday from Pyramid Lake. I was looking for lake monsters and ghosts and UFOs. So.
Lake monsters are fun. They just never come up.
They are.
Never come up.
I know. I was waiting.
You know how many times I've driven by Okanagan Lake? Waiting for the Ogopogo? Oh, I won't go in there, man.
Well,
I'm a meal.
I will say I had an interesting conversation with this guy, and he was telling me that apparently the pyramid that you see above the water, it looks like a weathered pyramid. Apparently it goes down in a pyramid shape 200 feet below the water.
Oh, that's incredible.
That was very interesting. Yeah,
Olav, I will let you get to continuing your Christmas wrapping. Merry Christmas to you on behalf of all of us at Spaced Out Radio and all our listeners as well.
Merry Christmas to you, and Happy Yule or Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever your Festivus or whatever your chosen thing is. I hope everybody enjoys a happy holiday.
The news coming up next, and the thought of the day. Stay tuned.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio fans! It's John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. Our goal is to make the life of veterans, first responders, and those with rare medical conditions 10% happier. We do this by donating one grant item, ranging from dance to therapy programs to prosthetic limbs, to those who need it most. To contribute to Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and become a donor today.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
A little bit of science, a little bit of skepticism. Add a dash of snark and you have the makings of Spaced Out Sundays with me, Everett Thiemer. Together we will look into the reality of the paranormal with an open eye and rational thought. Oh, did I mention there'll be plenty of woo as well? Your time spent with Spaced Out Sundays will make the night even better. The chat rooms are open, 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, right here at spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night.
This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Reminder to all of you that our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We got a plethora of features for you. We got brand new shirts at the SOR Vault. Make sure you go check them out on our website. We also have some great books that we read tonight. You could join the Space Travelers for $5 a month. Get your horns up and rock out to Bumblefoot, or take a read on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. One of these days I'm going to make her read the news. What do you think about that, Captain? Oh, yeah. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, and sometimes the creepy. A mysterious prankster who's been dressing up as Pennywise, the evil clown from the popular It films, and trying to scare passers-by, has been getting a lot of attention in Ukraine, including from prosecutors who think the people behind the stunt deserve to be locked up. The real-life Pennywise was first spotted on the streets of western Ukraine on December 9th when local media published photos of the scary-looking clown walking through the streets and hiding behind a bridge, waiting to pop out in front of unsuspecting passers-by. Then a few days later, a video shot at a gas station shows the mysterious clown pretending to pour gas over people's cars after they go inside to pay. Some run for the hills, abandoning their vehicles, while others just get behind the wheel and drive away. In another video, the clown opts for the classic popping out of a trash can stunt, which doesn't really quite work as well as intended, but is apparently enough to get him in trouble with authorities. Yeah, apparently, prosecutors' offices have begun criminal proceedings against the mysterious real-life Pennywise and the people behind this dangerous stunt. The makers of the now viral videos are suspected of creating and distributing material deemed to promote a cult of violence and cruelty. Therefore, the production was registered under Part 2 of Art 300 of the Criminal Code of Ukraine. According to Ukrainian law, people involved in the project risk a fine equal to between $130 and $300, tax-free minimum incomes, restriction of liberty for up to 5 years, or imprisonment for the same period. Despite getting in trouble with the law, the mysterious clown has already announced that he doesn't plan on stopping anytime soon. Creepy. Can't stand that. No need for it. All right. Paul Dale Roberts and colleagues from Halo Paranormal Investigations headed out to the home of Shula Jackson at the weekend after being asked to help look into reports of paranormal activity. Jackson, who lives at the property with her husband and 3 children, have been plagued by unexplained occurrences that have included waking up to see an old man standing over her bed, hearing strange knocking sounds, and encountering smoke and black orbs in her home. Of course, of 2 one-hour investigations at the property, Paul and his team reported a significant amount of unusual activity, including sightings of a shadowy figure. Perhaps most intriguing overall, however, was a photograph taken by investigator Angela Chestnut, which shows what the team claims is an actual shadow person standing at the end of the hallway. The image certainly does seem to show someone standing there. However, it's difficult to know if something paranormal or an actual person who just happened to be in the house at the time. Heavy shadows cast over the figure, whoever it is, to make out. Could this be a visitor from beyond or something more conventional? Looking at the photo, it's hard to say. It's definitely not very clear. Definitely not very clear. You can check that one out on our website. Give us your opinion on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio. 2 South Dakota companies, well, they've done good. They've done really, really good here at Christmas time. I love stories like this. Too bad it's not happening a lot during the year and it only gets promoted around Christmas. But this is good stuff. Very good stuff. Seriously, clapping for Carver Construction and American Trust Insurance. Why? These 2 South Dakota companies have paid off all lunch debt in the Pierre School District. Yes, they have eliminated a negative balance of about $2,300 in student meal accounts. Mandy Carver says that as a small business, they were simply looking for a way to give back. She says it's typical of the Pierre community where there are a lot of people willing to help out. American Trust Insurance says it raised about $1,000 with an employee giving campaign. District Business Manager Darla Mayer says school officials are grateful for the generous individuals and businesses. Of course, I'm still trying to figure out, okay, and this is just me. It doesn't matter if it's in the U.S. or Canada here. How do you let kids go to school hungry? Now, I realize that there's some parents out there who maybe cannot afford it or, would sooner splurge on themselves than keeping their children fed. All right? If we look at the U.S., the biggest military defense budget was just signed. And we have children who have debt at school, and if they don't pay that debt, they're not allowed to eat? How many more F-35s and F-22s do you need? I'm not trying to lecture here, okay? But these are children. All right? They're children. Children deserve to eat. I don't care. I really don't care. You tell me what's wrong with that. You tell me. The children deserve to eat. Doesn't matter if you're conservative, libertarian, Republican, Democratic, doesn't matter. The children don't care. They just need to eat. Let's get them fed. Okay, thank you for these 2 companies for doing that. There's always that one teacher who tends to take things a little too far. Well, this is where we introduce you to Veronica Duke. The 43-year-old teacher decided to encourage her students on a higher level and gave a class on anatomy. What made it interesting was that she was wearing a full bodysuit that mapped out the entire human body in great detail. She says, I've been teaching for 15 years now. I teach natural and social science, art, as well as English and Spanish. Currently, Veronica teaches the 3rd grade and is constantly looking for ideas on how to make the lessons more interesting. She goes, I was surfing the internet when an ad of an AliExpress swimsuit popped up. Knowing how hard it is for kids this young to visualize the disposition of internal organs, I thought, it was worthy of giving it a try. Yeah, it was. Looking at these photos, great work, teacher. She asked her husband, Michael, about it. He tweeted some pics from the lesson. Veronica instantly went viral, generating over 65,000 likes, 14,000 comments. made her a symbol of creativity and dedication. However, she isn't done yet. Veronica has plenty of ways to surprise her students. She says, I decided long ago to use disguises for history lessons. I am also using cardboard crowns for my students to learn grammatical categories such as nouns, adjectives, verbs, different grammar kingdoms, so to say. I'd like society to stop considering teachers to be lazy, bureaucratic public servants. We certainly aren't. Well, not everyone is like you, Veronica. Good job. Very, very good job teaching. That's good stuff. Anything that helps kids learn, I'm for it. Emergency services in the U.S. state of Michigan are conducting a cleanup operation after a dangerous greenish-yellow chemical oozed onto a highway. Police said the chemical was hexavalent chromium, which can cause cancer. Oh, that's nice. Environmental officials say the cleanup operation would last for days. The chemical appeared to come from a business in the Detroit suburbs, because that's healthy, that was shut down in 2016 for illegally storing hazardous materials, state environmental officials said. A spokesperson for Michigan's Department of Environment says the substance did not pose an imminent risk to public health, drinking water, or air quality. Police said the chemical ran from the basement of the building onto the ground and then found its way through a drain, which then empties onto Highway I-696. The Environmental Protection Agency says once a chemical came through the drain, it froze. The agency says workers would scoop up frozen liquid from the highway and place it then in a safe container. Wow. That stuff's pretty scary. Pretty scary. The leaked hexavalent chromium in Michigan came from a commercial building which housed electroplating services, officials said. The business was shut down when inspectors discovered hundreds of containers filled with the hazardous waste. The company's owner, Gary Sayers, is serving a year in federal prison for operating an unlicensed hazardous storage waste facility. Hexavalent chromium was referenced in the film Aaron Brockovich, which told the story of an activist who sued a California energy company after the chemical leaked into the town's water supply. Oh, that's serious stuff. Serious stuff. All right. For you occultists out there, you may be shedding a tear over this. Ram Dass, who in the 1960s joined Timothy Leary in promoting psychedelic drugs as a path to inner enlightenment before undergoing a spiritual rebirth, he spelled out on the influential book Be Here Now, died this past weekend at his home at the age of 88. With tender hearts, we share that Ram Dass, born Richard Alpert, died peacefully at his home in Maui, December 22nd, 2019, surrounded by loved ones. According to his official Instagram account, he was a guide for thousands seeking to discover or reclaim their spiritual identity beyond or within institutional religion. Those who knew him or were familiar with his work shared their remembrances on Twitter. For instance, Marianne Williamson, Ram Dass passed from this earth a few hours ago. How perfect that he left this plane on the first night of the Festival of Lights. Be Here Now shifted my world when I was young, as it did for millions of others. Praise and thanks to a huge and radiant soul. May he be blessed forever. This guy had a good beard. Very, very good beard. All right. The man who would become a serene, smiling forerunner of the New Age movement and play a leading role in bringing Eastern spirituality to the West, grew up as Richard Alpert in a Jewish family in Newton, Massachusetts. He considered himself an atheist, and after graduating from Tufts University, earning a PhD from Stanford University as well, was up-and-coming psychology professor and researcher at Harvard University in the 60s. Ram Dass would later describe himself at the time as a driven, anxiety neurotic who had abundance of knowledge but lacked wisdom. Things began to change when Leary joined the Harvard faculty and the two became close friends. He had then introduced to marijuana in 1955 by his first patient while working as a health services counselor at Stanford University, but Leary took him farther into psilocybin, the compound that gives certain mushrooms hallucinogenic qualities. In his first psychedelic experience, the rug crawled and the picture smiled, all of which delighted me, Ram Dass wrote in Be Here Now. Ram Dass and Leary wanted to open the minds to a deeper consciousness and conducted experiments that included giving the drug to jazz musicians and physicists and philosophers and ministers and junkies and graduate students and social scientists. Afterwards, they had them fill out their questionnaires about their experiences. God bless them. God bless them. All right, finally, police in Florida have arrested a man who admitted to handing out marijuana. Why? Because it was Christmas. Richard Spurrier was in the sharing spirit this past weekend. He had 45 grams of pot on him and that he was giving to people passing by. 16. Second. All right. Don't know who that was trying to call me in. All right. He had 45 grams of pot on him that he was giving to people who were passing by at an intersection in St. Petersburg, according to his Pinellas County arrest report. During an interview with police, he said he was sharing the drugs because of the holiday season. Well, that's really nice of him, isn't it? Very nice of him. Yeah. What's more, police found a hidden sword in Spurrier's cane when they arrested him around 11 p.m. Spurrier faces a charge of possession of marijuana with the intent to sell. Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because, well, we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. It's 2 days before Christmas. Well, about 1 day now. What's the best present you've ever received? Tell me a story. Start off with Heidi. Hi, Heidi in the UK. Every year, my husband gets me something to go in my cabinet of curiosities. So I have a meteorite, a 4,500-year-old statue of Isis, the goddess, not the terrorists, a piece of volcanic glass, 2,700-year-old decorated Egyptian bead, and a fossilized anemone. This year, of course, I am hoping for the hot item for every woo collector, metamaterial. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Very, very nice. Karen, best present I ever got was a DAB radio from my dad. It was the last Christmas present he got me, as he died July in the next year. It's 12 years old, but I will never get rid of it. I never receive any presents from my family, so it's even more special. Gil, my son always buys me something special. I collect salt and pepper pots. He buys me a different one every year. That's kind of cool. Salt and pepper pots? They're shakers, aren't they? I've never heard them called pots. Any of you? I haven't. What have I been missing this whole time? Are they little pots? I just thought they were salt and pepper shakers. I don't know. You tell me. Do you call them pots? I don't. All right, let's move on. Mark. Socks. I'll tell you a little story quickly here. So, a number of years ago, let's go back about 15 years here. All right? About 15 years. My mom always used to get us socks. Get everybody socks. And we'd all laugh, hey, I got socks, I got socks, I got socks. Well, my mom sometimes takes life a little too seriously. She thought we were making fun of the socks. So the following Christmas comes, and there's no socks under the tree. So everybody, my nephews, my former brother-in-law, who was still part of the family at that time, my sisters, myself, we're all there kind of saying, hey, Phil, where's the socks? Where's the socks? How come there's no socks here? Why do we not have socks? She's like, well, you made fun of me last year, so I figured if you're going to make fun of me, I'm not getting them. We're like, but we want socks. She's like, you weren't making fun of me? I'm like, no, we're happy to get socks every year. So every year I get socks from my mom. I love socks. Love the socks. It's good stuff, Phil. Keep it on up. All right. Moving on. Gail. The year my son was in kindergarten, he gave me a tiny box wrapped in Christmas paper with a red ribbon. It had an accompanying note that told me I never had to open it because the box was filled with love. Wow. Gail says she still has it. Well, I hope so. What an awesome gift. What an awesome gift. My grandmother, God bless her, she's 91. When I was in kindergarten, I made a bell out of paper. It was like out of construction paper, a few different colors. My grandmother taped a $1 bill to that. She still puts it up on our tree every year. Love those stories. What a beautiful memento, Gail. Beautiful memento. William, a gentleman never tells. Oh, my goodness, William. Kat, I received a Christmas bonus and was able to buy gifts for children. That's fantastic. Kelly, friend of mine painted a picture of my beautiful golden retriever that passed away. She was an amazing dog. She will always be by my side. Beautiful. Sylvia, my son Danny, born December 22nd. Susan, my grandson, decided he would make an early arrival. Christmas Eve, baby. Best Christmas ever. Another Kelly. It's actually every year. My wife always gets me these small trinkets that aren't really expensive or really useful, but the thought she puts into them just melts my cold, cold heart. Jody, my grandson, he was born on Christmas Eve. He's now 7. And that's a great place to end it right there. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time. We post it on our Facebook and Twitter pages in the morning. We hope you participate. And maybe you'll get your response read on the air, which is always what we try and do because we love the audience participation around here. Big thank you to Captain Shirk for getting all of our news together for the SOR Newswire. Thank you, Captain, for doing a fantastic job. Once again, you could read all of her news as she updates it daily on our website. And Olav Phillips for filling in for the ailing Reverend Keith Bradley. Olav, you're the man. We appreciated that. Merry Christmas to you, Olaf, and everybody else out there. Remember, check NORADSanta.org. Go feel like a kid again, even if it's for a few minutes. See what Santa is around the world. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, in our chat rooms on Spreaker, Revolution Radio, LGAB, Facebook, and the SOR Space Travelers Club on our website. Can't forget everybody on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Thank you so much. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited.
Day and night, don't make a mistake. We're watching.
Thanks for hanging out. We're going to do it again tomorrow because together, my friends, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Samantha Mowat, tomorrow night, ET Talk. Still not sure what we're doing on Christmas, but we'll keep you in tune with what's going on. NORADSanta.org. Go check it on out. It's a lot of fun. Become a kid again. Enjoy. Good night.